Hi, everybody. It's 6 p.m. We're going to wait a couple minutes and see if we can get some more of our cab members here. If that's okay. We'll wait 2 more minutes. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Barb Boschert. I'm the Community Involvement Coordinator for the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality Remedial Project Section. This is the Shannon Road, El Camino del Cerro WQARF Site Community Advisory Board meeting. It is 6:02 p.m. The meeting is being recorded. I can see we have 2 of our cab members, Bob and Adele, here. So the only one I think we're waiting on is Carrie. Is Carrie here under a different name? Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started. If we have 5 cab members, 2 of which can't make it. So we need the third in order to have a quorum, a majority of cab members, to have an actual cab meeting. In the absence of that, we'll just hold our presentation and the meeting will be over. It will be a public meeting. You all can still ask questions about the presentation and everything. If Carrie does show up, we'll continue with the rest of the agenda, which involves some voting on different cab business items. So we'll take a look again when Kyle is done with his presentation. Bob and Adele, do you want to introduce yourselves real quick as cab members?
I'm Bob Ornelas. I'm retired from Tucson Water Treatment Plant. Been a cab member for quite a few years. That's basically it. Retired.
Thank you. Adele, do you want to introduce yourself? Can you unmute? Possible Adele can't unmute. Adele Steger is also present. She's another cab member. So I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Johnson, the project manager for the site. Kyle, do you want to share your screen or would you like me to pull it up? Kyle, you're muted.
Hey, Barb, I can share my screen. I think you have to disable the,
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. I'm gonna have to give you
I can see you.
Oh, I think that was Adele.
Yeah, that's me. I'm
Okay.
here.
Hi, Bill.
Excellent. You'll have to give me a moment when you release the screen share. All my windows reshape their sizes.
Sorry.
Still says host disabled participants screen sharing when I go to screen share.
Hmm.
It's disabled.
Try it now.
Worst case scenario, you can just pull it on up.
Yeah, you still can't do it? It says you
Let me try again. Oh, it's working. All right.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. With any luck, you can all see my screen now.
Mm-hmm.
we can.
Excellent. Okay, well, hi, my name is Kyle Johnson. I am an engineer and project manager for the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, and I mostly work in the Water Quality Assurance Revolving Fund program. So today's presentation will be talking about the Water Quality Assurance Revolving Fund program, which I'm going to call WARF from here on out because it's too much of a mouthful otherwise. We'll be focusing on just the process. This will be a refresher for a lot of the people that have been to these meetings before, but I know it's been a while since we've actually gotten together and held a meeting. We'll also take a quick look at the second quarter 2023 groundwater monitoring results. That's things like groundwater elevation and flow and contaminant concentrations, dissolved contaminant concentrations in the groundwater. And then we'll take a quick look at a treatment system upgrade that is currently in progress at the South Shannon well. But to start off, how does a WARF site, how is it created, and how does it get to where this particular Shannon Road, El Camino del Cerro WARF site is today? So a WARF site starts as a preliminary investigation, and that's when you kind of do desktop research, maybe go out in the field a little bit, and you determine whether or not the area you're looking at qualifies as a WARF site. If it doesn't qualify, it drops out of this process. If it does qualify, it gets listed as a WARF site. And at that time, we also start looking for potentially responsible parties, and that's it's a legal classification of a group that could have been involved in causing the contamination or spreading it. So this little portion kind of actually runs throughout most of the WARF process. In addition to that, we can also start what's called an early response action as soon as the site's identified and listed. And that's when you implement a remedy kind of beforehand, when it's maybe a little presumptive, or you kind of already know what the remedy should be, or maybe you need to initiate a remedy early to mitigate the contaminant migration or human exposure or something. But barring these two things that kind of run throughout this whole process here, the next phase would be a remedial investigation. That's when you collect data to characterize your contaminants and get enough information to determine what a good remedy for the contaminants would be. After that's done, well, actually, I would say as a part of it, we also do a land and water use study and a remedial objectives report. And that's where you determine what your milestones for success for the cleanup are. And then the land and water use study gives local property owners and water providers the chance to voice their future needs and current uses of the land and water. Both those are included within the remedial investigation. After we have completed that, we go on to a feasibility study, and that's where you choose out a minimum of 3 remedies and assess the feasibility for each one. So it's kind of like looking at the different options you have to clean up the contamination and comparing them. From there, we go to a proposed remedial action plan, and that proposes one or a combination of the remedies from the feasibility study, or sometimes if a lot of new information is gained between the two portions of this process, you can even propose an entirely new remedy. We also hone in on the price tag a little further for what the remedy will cost in that report, which brings us to the record of decision. And that is the process we are currently working on at this site. Record of decision is kind of the final say for the department, for the state, as to what the remedy at the site will be. We're kind of on hold on that, creating that document as we assess our PRP stuff that I'd mentioned earlier that we started back at the beginning. That is not to say that the site itself is not progressing. We're still actively remediating, monitoring at the site. We're just not issuing this document until we've got the costs and the PRP stuff wrapped up. But once it is implemented, once it is put out and finalized, we will implement the remedy it describes. We will operate and maintain that remedy. And then eventually, when the contaminants are down at a concentration that meets legal requirements, we will remove the site from the WQARF registry. All right, so pardon my long-winded and boring explanation of that, but now we'll get on to pictures, which are much more exciting. So here's a layout of the WQARF site, the Shannon Road El Camino del Cerro WQARF site. As you can see, it's just to the east of the I-10, north of Riffraff, and south of Orange Grove. It is traditionally, when the plume was at its largest size, it took up most of this whole area. The contaminants we'll be focusing on today as we look at this site will be tetrachloroethylene, which we're going to call PCE because that's shorter, and trichloroethylene, we're going to call that TCE, and 1,4-dioxane, we're just going to call that 1,4-dioxane. So on the map, you can also see a highlighted area. This is a former landfill that is the source of the contaminants, which you'll see in the pictures upcoming, that migrated north and eventually impacted the South Shannon well, which we'll also talk about. That's a drinking water production well owned by Metro Water. So first is groundwater flow. We have this site broken into two different aquifer units based on elevation. There's a shallow zone and a middle zone, and there's a little bit of separation between those, so you can see different flow directions between the two. In the shallow zone, you've got a little bit of a northwesterly flow to the south portion, and then pretty northerly on the northern portion. Generally northerly as well in the middle zone, which is the deeper of the two. This is all very consistent with historical flows as well. So onto the tetrachloroethene, or PCE. That's a contaminant that has moved north from where the former landfill was, kind of down in this corner. And as it goes through the shallow zone, it's headed up this way. It's actually reduced a lot from what it was historically. If you looked at old pictures of this, we're at a fraction of what the plume size was. As the contaminant moves north, it hits the wash bed here and actually kind of moves down in depth. And that's when we move over to this picture. The plume, this is just showing the plume at a different depth as it dove deeper into the water as it approached this wash. The highest concentration of PCE at the site is currently 38 micrograms per liter. That occurs right here where the blue dot is in the deeper of the two units we're looking at. Again, for reference, the South Shannon well, the drinking water well, is right here. The next, another thing, the hash lines stand for inferred. It's more guesswork than the rest of the lines are. The other contaminant, the second contaminant we're looking at is trichloroethene, or TCE. And you've got a similar situation to the PCE. It has flowed to the north, and then dives down a little deeper when we get to the wash, and we jump over to this picture. You can see we actually only had 2 wells that exceeded for TCE in the deeper of the 2 units. One of them was the South Shannon well, and we actually only inferred that it exceeded the state limit of 5 micrograms per liter. It was actually detected at 2.7, but being as it's a production well, that's often a diluted concentration you're going to get out of a well like that. The highest concentration for this contaminant was 16 micrograms per liter, and that occurred in the exact same well, I believe the same well, yep, the same well as the PCE. Again, this is a plume size, a fraction of what it was had you looked 10, 15 years ago. The last contaminant we're looking at is 1,4-dioxane, and that is a contaminant that does not actually have an AWQS, but it does have an EPA-issued, like a health-based, a kind of a guidance level, or a tap water screening level, which is 0.35 micrograms per liter. Again, this is kind of overrepresented as to what we actually know. Some of this is guesswork because there have been detections of it out here in the past. We don't have the data to support it, hence the dashed line. But again, this is not one that truly has an aquifer water quality standard or a state legal limit to what it's present, what is allowed as a presence in an aquifer. The highest concentration was 4 micrograms per liter. That occurred actually in the more shallow aquifer further south than the other 2 contaminants. And so the next topic I was going to discuss here was the South Shannon wellhead treatment upgrade. And again, the South Shannon well is a drinking water well run by Metro Water. It is also a remediation well, as it has a large treatment system installed at the wellhead, an existing treatment system that uses granular activated carbon to pretty much filter out contaminants from the well. What we've had occur over the last few years, though, is the amount of water this well is able to pump has diminished. Metro Water is unable to pump this at the maximum rate that it used to. The old pumping rate was over 600 gallons per minute. Currently, they're down around 200 gallons, only a third of what their capacity is. And our goal in upgrading the treatment system was to improve the hydraulic control of the contaminant plumes to the south. And we're going to do that by increasing our pumping rate at this well, which is described right here. We need a higher GPM. We need more than 200 gallons per minute. Well, I'm sorry, I misspoke. 300 was the current rate. We're shooting for over 600. Here's the existing treatment system. These are large carbon vessels. They contaminants absorb onto the surface of the carbon, and then the carbon, once it's spent, is changed out for new carbon. So the new treatment system, we're going to keep the carbon as a polishing and like a free radical remover. So the carbon will still stay there, but we are going to add a new piece of equipment onto the treatment train, and that's called an advanced oxidation system. And you can see it pictured right here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. So AOP for short, that's advanced oxidation and peroxide. What this thing does is we're going to shoot in hydrogen peroxide, which is 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 peroxide molecule. I'm sorry, 2 peroxide molecule. I'm sorry, H2O2, hydrogen and oxygen. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I got to think of the chemical compound. H2O2. And it's going to get injected into the stream of water and then exposed to UV lights, which you can actually see the little lights right in there. And those will break apart the molecules into little radicals, which have my chemistry is a little rusty, but if memory serves, it's they have the valence shell of the molecules are not at the number it wants to be, so they're seeking to give up or accept an electron, which makes them super reactive. I don't know. So if there's a chemist on here, correct me if I'm misspeaking. It's been many years. But those free radicals go out there and they will destroy the contaminants, 1,4-dioxane, TCE, PCE, pretty much anything you throw at it in the solvent category, in the volatile organic category. So that is what we're doing now. This is, like I said, ongoing. It hasn't even been unboxed yet. I was out there, I think, last week taking these pictures, but this is what is going to inject the hydrogen peroxide into the system. This is what's going to blast it with the UV radiation, UV light. Again, ongoing construction. I just thought this was kind of neat. Had a little mini excavator out there pouring a fresh pad. This was going to have a new filter, just a new sock filter, bag filter, is what I usually call them, strainer, some people call them. It's just a mechanical way to remove sediment and such from the well before it goes to the treatment system. We're looking at hopefully finishing this up in November, if everything stays on course, a grand total of 6-ish weeks of construction. Also, you can see the hydrogen peroxide tank right here. It's a 3,000-gallon dual wall. I think it's got a stainless steel filling stem in it. And that's all I have. I do apologize for the image quality on some of the figures. I know it does not come through really well because it's a copy of the original. If anyone wants, I can pull up the originals online and they're more zoomable and you can see numbers. But at this point, if anyone has questions, I'd be happy to field them.
I have a question.
Yes, may I ask who's speaking?
Yes, this is Adele
Hi, Adele.
Steger.
Hello.
Yeah, okay. Will that hydrogen peroxide ultraviolet treatment increase the gallons per minute?
Yeah, it'll allow Metro Water to run this thing, the well, at the maximum capacity, as far as I can tell. They should
Oh,
be able
really?
to, yeah, the limiting factor will now be the mechanical ability of the pump in the ground to produce water, not the
okay.
contaminants.
Right.
We're gonna, yeah.
Oh, so right now it's the contaminants that are limiting the supply.
Yes, yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. So do I get my drinking water from that well? If I live in
I don't
that
know.
area? Yeah.
I do not know. You could probably look that up though.
Okay.
I'm sure you could look at Metro Water's service area and see if your address falls within it.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be from this sole well. They would have multiple wells. I couldn't tell you how many, but they'd have a few of them that all contribute
Right.
to drinking water.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That was pretty good. It was well explained.
Well, thank you. I'm getting a little rusty. I think it's been a couple of years since we all.
Can I mention something here?
Yeah, go on ahead and ask who's speaking.
I left, this is Bob Ornelas. I left Tucson Water in 2015 and they were upgrading their TARP facility with this same process. So this is the correct method for the contaminants.
Thank you, Bob.
It's the right thing to do.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you approve of this because it means a lot with your background. But thank you.
Kyle, this is Wally. Could I add a little bit of context?
Wally, I don't think I could physically stop you, so you go right ahead, my man.
Okay, so just for everybody's clarity, when 1,4-dioxane started being detected at the Shannon well, we did some plumbing work and we used two other wells, the Deaconcini well and the Wildwood well, to blend the mix down such that we could keep the 1,4-dioxane in the combined flow, which does go to customers, below the health advisory level.
Okay.
And because Metro Water will not deliver, even though it's not a regulated compound, we will not deliver water that exceeds a established health advisory limit or a maximum contaminant limit. So,
Okay.
but the problem is that the 1,4-dioxane concentration kept increasing in the South Shannon well, and we couldn't blend it down and maintain the flow rate at South Shannon. So we've had to slowly ratchet back the flow to keep the combined blend below that HAL level for 1,4-dioxane. So we are very happy to see that ADEQ is installing this new system on the well, and that will certainly allow us to ratchet up the flow rate and turn that back into a capture well, which is what its job is with regard to the wharf site. So it's the sole remediation well, and we want it operating at its full capacity. And this new treatment upgrade is going to allow us to do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Wally. That was a good explanation. Any other questions?
Questions or comments? Okay. For the benefit of those present, if you'd like a copy of this presentation and you don't already have it, feel free to email me and I'll be glad to send it to you. They are on our website. They're a little difficult to find at the moment. The website is currently being rebuilt. So they're there, they're just kind of difficult to find. So if you need some information, reach out to Kyle or myself. Before we move to the next step, I just want to check again if Carrie Shaferi was able to join the meeting. I don't see his name, but I just want to check. Okay, well, unfortunately, what that means then is we do not have a quorum of CAB members present. Wally, I'm so sorry. Wally has submitted an application to be a member of the Community Advisory Board, which would be very helpful. He works for Tucson Water. But we are not able to elect him as a member of the board until we have a quorum of members at a meeting. So again, Wally, I will set your application aside and we'll bring it up at our next meeting and hopefully we'll have a quorum then. But given that we do not have a CAB, we cannot finish out the agenda with the remaining CAB business items. So if no one has any questions or comments on the presentation, and that would conclude tonight's public meeting. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to attend. Any other last?
One note, Barb, it's Wally. I work for Metro Water. So
Metro Water. Yes,
this
sorry.
topic is near and dear to my heart.
Sorry. Apologies. No one has anything?
This is Lori Eman with Tucson Water. I have a question. Since ADQ, you guys just redid your website. When will stuff be, and before the restructuring of the website, there was a lot of material about wharf sites on your website. Will that be returning or yes? Yeah.
It will be, definitely. It's a real slow process and we don't have a lot of enough hands, I should say, on it. Getting everything back. They assure me that stuff is still there. It's just hard to find. I don't know. I haven't been able to find some things. But yes, eventually it will all be back as it was before. It will look different. It's a different format, I guess, but it will all be there. So they're getting there. They're having to tackle the current items first, the things that are currently under comment period or public notices, that kind of thing. Make sure those get up, and then they're tackling the sort of the historical stuff. So in the meantime, if you do need anything on any site and you just can't find it on the website, reach out to any of us in Remedial Projects and we'll be happy to get you what you need.
Hey, Barbara.
Thank you.
Barbara.
Yes.
I think Carrie is here now under Motorola Moto.
Right.
Might want to check with her.
Carrie, are you able to unmute and let us know?
Hi. I've been watching the presentation by Kyle. I apologize. My computer is doing updates. My horrible little laptop that I use because I have a nice computer for work, so I don't really use a computer otherwise. So I'm on my phone.
Great, I see. Okay, gotcha. Well, wonderful. Then we can continue with the rest of the agenda.
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
No problem. We're really glad you're here. So let me pull the agenda up. The next item on the agenda then, since we do have a quorum of CAB members present, we've got Carrie, Bob, and Adele, would be to review and or approve the March 2021 meeting minutes. I don't know if you all got a chance to review those. And if you did, if you have any comments, edits, or questions you have about the minutes, wait from two and a half years ago.
Just like yesterday.
Yeah. If there are no comments and you guys would like to approve them to put them into the official record, then I would need a motion, a second, and then a vote from the attending CAB members. So would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
And I'll second the motion.
Great. And all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Okay. All right. Thank you for that. The next item on the agenda would be to look at Wally's application. Let me pull that up real quick.
That's cool.
So Wally Wilson applied several years ago to join the CAB. I don't know if that's too big to read. Or if it's showing up right. hopefully you guys got a chance to look at it. As he said, he works for Metro Water, Tucson Water. And he's been working on various aspects of the Shannon site. And he would like to serve on the Community Advisory Board to bring his extensive knowledge and interest to the board. Does anybody have any questions for Wally or us before we decide to take a vote on admitting him to the CAB? Or Wally, would you like to say anything?
Just, it's been longer than 8 years since I've been living and working in the area. So it's 10 years now, but I've been working for Metro Water for coming up on 7 years. And this project has been one of my many other duties, but this has consumed a lot of my time working with Kyle and ADEQ on all aspects of this wharf site, but primarily on the treatment system. So my interest will continue whether I'm a CAB member or not, but I hope to become a CAB member, and I can bring additional information from Metro Water about progress on the site and progress on the operation.
Sounds fantastic.
Right, if there's no more questions or comments, then we would, if you would like to admit Wally to the board, we'd need a motion, a second, and a vote again.
Make a motion that we approve his application.
I second that motion.
And then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Yay, Wally, great. You're finally on. Wally also serves on another of our community advisory boards that's in Tucson, so we're glad to have him.
Wally, I hope it was worth the wait.
Wow.
Well, we'll see. In a couple of weeks, I want to see wet water flowing out of that well.
Oh man, me too.
So the next item on the agenda is to, let me just double check that I'm not going out of order. Hold on. Let's see. Next item on the agenda is the charter. Let me pull that up. So I made a couple of suggested changes to the CAB charter to bring it current with the current statute and rule. We do not have to adopt these. These are suggestions on my part that I think will clear up the charter a little better. Hopefully you got a chance to review these when I sent them to you. But the main change, can you see it? Is it sharing correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. The main change is in section 4D, the structure of the CAB. So in the last year and a half, we had a change to the actual statute that discusses community advisory boards. And the change was talking about how often CABs should meet. It used to say CABs should meet 4 times per year. But what we found is that the data didn't always, allow us to meet 4 times a year and have anything to talk about. So we were in contradiction of statute when we weren't having those meetings. So we got it changed. And what I did is I inserted the actual wording from statute into this section. And what it says is, in response to site activities or a request from a CAB member or a city, town, or county in which the site is located, the CAB may meet with the department and any identified responsible parties to receive site briefings, progress reports, and other pertinent information. And that replaces, so basically what it's saying is we can meet whenever we want. We can meet when we say, hey, we've got some data we would like you guys to see. We can meet when you guys call us and request a meeting. When really pretty much anybody wants to have a meeting, we can have as many meetings as we want or as few meetings as we want. That's basically what the change means. So I crossed out the part that says the CAB shall meet 4 times per year. And then there's another sentence that says more or less frequent meetings may be held if deemed necessary, because that's kind of covered already, saying, hey, we can meet whenever we want. Does anybody have any questions about that change?
No.
Okay. And then the other change is just a simple one down in section, let's see, 4I. I just cleaned up a couple of a website address and a phone number to make them current. So there's nothing substantial there. It's just a little cleanup. And those were the only two changes I proposed, unless anybody else has anything else they'd like to change in the charter.
Barb,
So
this
good
is
change
Wally.
it.
Yep.
I move that we accept the proposed changes to the CAB's charter
Thank you, Wally.
as presented.
Thank you.
I second
I
that
se-
motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye. I can see who's speaking.
Aye.
All right.
I
Unanimous. Okay, that's taken care of. Oops. And I believe, hold on. Oh, the next thing on the agenda is once a year, but we haven't been meeting once a year, we are required to elect new co-chairs. Right now, we only have one co-chair, which is Bob. Bob's been doing it all alone with me emailing him constantly for a while. It helps if we have two co-chairs because we have to have a co-chair at a meeting. So if one can't make it and the other one can, we're good. But we do need to have a co-chair at a meeting. So the responsibilities are, I don't know, minimal. I don't know what you would say, Bob. Hopefully they're not too onerous.
it's painless, so it's not too bad.
It's really what we do when we set up a meeting is we consult our co-chairs first, since we do have to have a co-chair present. We consult with them first for dates, possible dates, before we take it to the rest of the board. So we consult with them on that. We consult with them on what might be on the agenda. And then we ask them to sort of lead the meeting a lot of times. So would anybody like to volunteer to be co-chair? And Bob, you can continue to be co-chair if you would like.
Can we nominate somebody?
You absolutely.
I'd like to nominate Wally because he has that new spirit.
I'd be happy to do that. I was going to volunteer, but I'm even more happy to be nominated. And you can be guaranteed that I'll be at all these meetings. That's kind of like part of my job.
That's great. How about anybody else for a second co-chair?
I'll volunteer if there's nobody available, nobody else.
Nobody? Okay. So we've got Wally and Bob as co-chairs for the next year or until we have another meeting, which I'll talk about in a minute. Can I get a motion to elect Wally and Bob as co-chairs?
I'd like to
Okay.
move to elect Wally and Bob as co-chairs.
And a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. So the last item on the agenda is simply to talk about future meetings. We have a new director at ADQ, and she's really pushing and really interested in community engagement and community outreach, which is great. I love that. So we are doing a couple of things differently. We are trying to make sure that no matter what, we either have a CAB meeting or a public meeting around once a year. If we just can't get dates together where we can get a quorum to attend the CAB meeting, we'll just have a public meeting so that we make sure the communication, the information gets out into the community. So there's that. The other thing is a lot of our CABs have kind of dwindled in membership for various reasons over the last couple of years. So we are going to make a push in CAB recruitment to try to get more people in the community interested in these specific sites and in joining the board, or at least attending the meetings. So probably after the first of the year is when I'm going to start really looking into that push to try to recruit more members. So if you know anybody that might be interested, let me know. I'll be glad to contact them and tell them what it's about. But we will be doing that. So if you have any advice or information you think might help with that, please let me know. And that'll be after the first of the year. The last thing is that, as always, if there's anything you specifically want to talk about on the agenda, let me know, or Kyle know. In addition, between the meetings, I'll continue to try to keep you updated quarterly via email as to anything that's gone on at the site in the last quarter, but I can always answer any questions, and Kyle can in between those updates and meetings and things. So,
Sounds good.
anybody else have anything left would like to say, ask, comment on before we adjourn the meeting?
This is Wally. If it's okay with Kyle, when we do have another meeting, Metro Water will have plenty of treatment production data. When we fire this new system up, we're going to be taking water quality samples. We take a plethora of water quality samples right now, but we're going to be looking specifically at the treatment's performance. And if it's okay with Kyle, I'd be happy to present, a before and an after kind of picture of what is this new treatment system doing for us as a community and how we expect it to perform into the future.
I think that's a great idea, Wally, but I also I have no idea what public meeting law and stuff says. So ultimately,
Yeah.
Barb, is that cool? Does that violate anything?
I mean, yeah, we'll have to look into what we're allowed to present as ADAQ, but working with ADAQ to get the information out there, I don't think will be a problem. It just all depends on, I think we just have to make sure we attribute it and stuff, but I'll check and make sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Wally, I'm on board totally.
And I mean, we don't have any data right now. So it's like, we got to get the system up and running, and there's got to be something to present anyway. So we're not there yet. So this is months out in the future. So all the things, all the requirements we can research and figure out and make sure that it's kosher for me to present data, or I can provide a presentation to you, Kyle, because it's data. I mean,
Yeah, that would.
We're not making anything up here. It's like, here's the data. It's pumping rates, it's water quality analyses.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you can hand it to me and I can put together a presentation.
Yeah. So I think that would be useful for the CAB and the other members to see, like, here's a before and an after. Yes, this is doing what we wanted it to do, So.
Although maybe I'll take this moment, although it looks like Lori has her hand raised. But after that, I have one final announcement.
Okay. Go ahead, Lori.
Hi, this is Lori Eman with Tucson Water again. I was just wondering, you had gone over the wharf phases, Kyle.
Yes.
Is there any sort of approximate date on when the rod is going to be released along with the PRP?
So the PRP list is out. PRPs have been notified, I believe, per gosh, you're gonna make me get my law book out, per whatever statute that is. I could look it up real quick. But no, I actually don't. I would say if I were to just guess, probably over a year. The WQARF program is currently going through sites one at a time and trying to straighten all this out. It's like a massive amount of data and invoices and everything that's happened financially at the site for the last, since it was a site. And this is not the only one. I think we have between 30 and 40 wharf sites at different stages, but quite a few of them need this attention, and this is just one of them. But again, what I want to say is that's not the only thing that's stopping is just the state issuing a document that says the remedy is going to be using the South Shannon groundwater extraction well to provide hydraulic control, and then other portions will be monitored natural attenuation, but the bulk of it will be the remedy that exists right now. Other than that, we're going to keep doing the remedy. We're going to keep the groundwater monitoring. We're just not going to shoot out that slip of paper, because once we shoot that slip of paper out the door, I think that's like, you have to do all your cost recovery before that. So we haven't done our cost recovery and all of our RP, responsible party stuff. That makes sense. So I don't have a date. That was a really long way to say I don't have an exact date, but I would guess between 1 and 3 years. That'd be my guess.
The PRAP is out. So
Yes. Yeah.
a very detailed description of the remedial plan is out. And Metro Water worked with Kyle on that, and that is out and available. It's not the rod, but it's the just a baby step below the rod.
In the rod tends to be less detailed and more administrative. Usually the rods are going to be, they're typically short, and it's like the remedy is going to be as was described in the proposed remedial action plan kind of thing.
Thank you for explaining.
You're welcome. I thought I saw another hand, but no, I don't.
Yes, it's Beth Scully. I had a quick question. So at the landfill, at the ECD landfill, was that groundwater pump and treat system, was it dismantled, or is it still?
I believe it's still on site. That one's owned and operated by Pima County, and I believe it is still on site, but it was shut off for I want to say a 24-month rebound evaluation. And we do data share. The county does not sample at the exact same frequency as the state. I think we do it twice a year, and they do it once. But we do data share and our winter sampling, we try and do it at the same time as them. So we kind of get a snapshot of the whole area. And it actually appears that there hasn't been a huge rebound or anything. They shut the pump and treat off, and it's not, the concentrations around the landfill did not spike, at least per the data they've been sending into us, the reports they've issued. So
Okay.
I do not think it'll turn back on, would be my guess.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Kyle, you said you had something to say?
Yes, I will not be the project manager for this site much longer. I likely the end of this calendar year, I will step down from the position. I will not just this site. I love this site. It's engaging, great community, but all project management. I'm going on to do more technical work for the state and less project management. But it has truly been a joy to work on this site, and I do believe it's been slow progress, but a lot of progress has been seen through the last couple of decades. But it's been a pleasure working with all of you as well.
Well, thank you and best of luck in your new venture.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, good luck, Kyle.
Well, thank you. I'll still be around. I might even come to the meetings. I'll still be working with the same group. Yeah.
We can still bug him with questions.
Yeah. I'm just going to be on a technical team that does more like engineering stuff.
Nerdy.
Yeah, nerdy stuff. Yeah. I'll get to polish up on my chemistry.
All righty. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming. If you have a question you didn't get to tonight or think about, feel free to contact us. We're glad to answer any questions. And hope to see you at the
I'd like to thank Barb and Kyle and any of the staff that doing the heavy lifting. So appreciate all the info.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for caring.
Just for your information, we do also have on the call Tom Titus, who is my manager and was Kyle's manager.
Oh, he thought he was going to skate through here without getting noticed.
Yeah, I was going to let him go, but since you mentioned the ADQ employees, I thought he should get the recognition too. He works really hard leading the group, making sure we get everything done. So thank you, Tom. If you want to say hi, wave. Okay. Now we're good. We can go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:50 p.m. And if you have need any further information, just give us a call. We'll get you anything you need. Thanks everybody for coming.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all your work and arranging everything.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure this won't be the last you see of me. Thank you all very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.